Hello and welcome to the Bliss Section podcast, a space where meaningful conversations meets inspiration, healing, and personal growth. I'm your host, Tammy. Joining the podcast today is an incredible guest whose work has touched the lives of so many people. Dr. Deidra Sorrell is a licensed professional counselor, licensed clinical supervisor, certified school psychologist, author, nationally recognized mental health advocate. Her work focuses on cultural responsive trauma-informed care, helping individuals and communities better understand emotional wellness, healing, and self-awareness. Welcome to the Bliss section, Dr. Deidra. How are you today?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me on the Bliss podcast. I've been so excited about this.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. First, what got you to go into the mental health field in the first place?
Hmm, that is a really good question. I have always felt that I naturally had the ability to help other people, even as a young child. Even like in middle school or in high school, I had friends or even people that I really wasn't like that close with just tell me some of the things that they were going through or some of the traumas that they were going through. And at one point I wondered, well, do they tell everybody this? And that wasn't the case. People felt that I was a safe place and a safe person to talk to and someone that they could get not just advice, but just that confidential treatment and also just that inspiration to be able to make the right choices. So I naturally felt that I was called to go into the mental health field, and it just felt right for me when I went to college and I started taking those psychology classes. So here I am so many years later working in the mental health field and inspiring children and adults to make good choices so that they can be successful.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deidra, for the work that you're doing. I'm a psychology major pursuing my BA. I have a long way to go to obtain those titles that you have, but you're so inspirational. And how was your journey to get those titles as a psychologist? Was it long? Was it intense at times? What was it like for you?
Well, the journey to being a school psychologist is a very long journey. And I would say to anyone who is in the mental health field, you really have to have a lot of patience. You have to have a lot of determination and a lot of fight to get through the field. So you really have to know that it's a calling and it's something that you really want to do because there are a lot of roadblocks and a lot of barriers. I would say this, look at the field backwards. So look at what you want to do and look at the path that would lead to the ultimate goal instead of just starting in the field of psychology and seeing where it takes you. And the reason I say that is because there are certain jobs and certain roles that require a specific license, a specific certification, or a school that has a certain accreditation. So you want to make sure that you choose the program, choose the major, or choose the field of study that's going to get you specifically to that goal that you want to go into.
Absolutely, I agree. I'm super excited to talk about the Black Friendship Project. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I believe that friendship is essential to the mental health of
Yes.
Black women specifically. Now, I know that friendship is important to all cultures, all genders, all races. Yes, friendship is very, very important. But for Black women, especially, friendships, having those sister friends, having those close friends that hold us accountable, that support us, that are truly there for us is so important to our mental health. We need to have that support in order to feel that we can navigate the world that has racism, has sexism, has ageism, all the isms that you can imagine that exist in the world weigh so heavily on our shoulders. We need to have those friendships to help us get through all of those barriers.
I love that you said that. And also within friendship tribes, women have to navigate responsibilities if that's a career or child or spouse or, day-to-day life. What advice would you give to those who may not currently have the bandwidth for friendships and need to be patient if I can't answer that call in the moment or, look at the accomplishments on social media at the time and a friend may feel some type of way if you missed a certain event. What advice would you have for friends who are navigating life obstacles but still want to be a friend?
That's a great question because I have been there. Life has its ups and downs. Life be life, and sometimes. Sometimes you
Right.
have to focus on your schoolwork. Sometimes you have to really lock in with your career, and you may not be able to go out and do things socially. So you may find that you have friends in your life who feel neglected because you haven't been able to attend this or attend that. So what do you do? Like you said, what do you do in those instances? Well, first, you have to be a friend to yourself.
Mhm.
You have to be able to give yourself grace. It's very difficult to have a healthy friendship if you don't know what that feels like, if you haven't been that to yourself. So sometimes you just have to rest. You have to give yourself those positive words and positive affirmations. You have to make sure that you give yourself that ability to feel seen, heard, and validated. It may be doing some self-care. It may be doing whatever that is that fills your soul so that you can be that healed person, so that you can do what you need to do within your life, so that when you're ready and you have that bandwidth to be that great friend who's present, you're healed and you're healthy, you're not feeling a type of way.
Yeah,
So give yourself that grace first, and hopefully other people will give that grace as well.
very well said. I see you got a slash on there. Tell me about that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have been in the pageantry world for just a few years now. I didn't grow up in pageantry. A lot of women who are in pageantry, they started out as kids or as young women in pageantry, but I actually started in my mature years, and I have found it to be very empowering, exciting, and it's given me the opportunity to really talk about the things that are meaningful to me. And it's also given me the opportunity to do more in the community. So I am currently Ms. Maryland Educator of America. That's through the Ultimate Pageant System. I
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. And it has just really given me the opportunity to highlight some of the things that I'm already doing as an educator. Yes, I've been in mental health for many years, but my platform is specifically titled Rooted in Resiliency, Healing Through History. I have an interest in history. I always have had an interest in Black history. I minored in African American history in undergrad. So, what I do is I talk about little known Black history stories specific to the DMV, so that DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and also beyond. But I talk about these stories from the lens of empowerment and through the lens of trauma informed information, not, oh, we're such victims. Look at what's happened to us. Let's hate all these people. No, the message that I'm giving is we've been through these things, but we have pulled ourselves up and we have made something valuable out of the scraps that we have been given. So if we could do that in the 1920s and 30s and 40s, we can do that now. So it's something that I'm very excited about, and it's something that's driving my platform with this pageant system.
Wow, it's Women's History Month and you are making history for
Thank you so much.
sure.
Yes, Women's History Month, Black History Month was last month,
Yes,
but I always say in my videos, I celebrate Black history all year round because it's
yes.
American history. And so is women's history, American history. Absolutely.
Yes. Would you recommend one woman's story from the DMV area that our listeners can deep dive and learn about on their own? Any empowering stories that you can share?
Absolutely. I did a video in January about Dr. Nanny Helen Burroughs. And she is a woman that a lot of people don't know much about, but there's a street named after her. If you're familiar, you've probably driven down that street many times. It's in Northeast Washington, D.C. But Dr. Nanny Helen Burroughs was an amazing educator, and she has a story that's not talked about enough. She's from Virginia, but moved to the Washington, D.C. area to be educated. And this was many, many years ago. This was in the 1920s when she was educated. So schools were segregated. She went to Dunbar High School. And then she tried to become an educator in DC public schools, but allegedly, I have to say allegedly was not given the job because of her skin tone. DC public schools,
Mm.
Black school system was not given that opportunity because at the time there was a lot of colorism. You had the paper bag test going on. So, what she ended up doing, she did not let that stop her. She started her own school for colored girls and she taught vocations. And at the time, that was frowned upon because of the talented 10th mentality that came out of W.E.B. Du Bois, which, of course, I am definitely down with. But everyone did not have the aspiration or the finances to go to college. So she had a vocational school that taught women how to go into some of the vocational fields or quote unquote female led vocations at the time. But it gave women, young women, the opportunity to get educated so they could go right into the workforce or go to college. So she was also an honorary member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which is my sorority. So she was an awesome educator, definitely influential in the Washington, D.C. area and the world. So that's just an empowering story that I would love for
Yeah.
everyone to think about and research more about.
I sure going to research more for sure. Dr.
Yes.
Deidra, if you can tell us more about you and your practices, do you service clients in person, online? If someone wanted to connect with you to get your services, how could they connect? And what all do you offer and who do you service? I know that was a lot of questions at once.
Yes, well, I have a private practice, but I am not seeing clients right now. I work for Prince George's County Public Schools as a school psychologist, and there is so much work in Prince George's County. It
Mm,
requires a great deal of energy and a great deal of dedication. So I unfortunately cannot dedicate time to my practice right now. However, I have wonderful videos on social media that are about mental health. So I encourage people to follow me on Instagram or TikTok at A Healed Perspective and check out my videos. I also have resources on Teachers Pay Teachers, which is a resource where you can get books, worksheets. I have lesson plans that are very helpful for educators or even people who just want to learn outside of the classroom. And then I have books on Amazon. My most recent book is a coloring book that teaches young children how to manage their emotions through coloring, and talking about the definitions of certain coping skills like breathing, acceptance,
yes.
having keeping their hands to themselves, all of those things that we want our children, our young children, to do in school. This helps to reinforce teaching those wonderful behavioral skills that we want them to have.
I definitely commend you because it needs to start early of teaching emotional intelligence, acceptance, behavior etiquette, all of these things, in our youth. It starts young. Um, Teaching coping skills and navigating behavior is normal and healthy. I definitely commend everything you're doing. What advice would you have for aspiring mental health professionals who may be navigating their own mental health challenges currently?
Hmm. And that's an excellent question. I always say that when you work in the field of mental health, it's so important for you to get that support yourself. You have to believe in what you are promoting. So think of it this way. Say you work in the beauty field and you sell makeup, you sell lipstick, lip gloss. Well, what if you never tried it and you're selling this product to people and you're saying, hey,
Right.
try this lipstick, try this lip gloss. And they're like, well, what do you think about it? Do you like it? And you're like, oh, I never tried it. Then it really takes away some of the credibility of the product. Now, I know we can't compare lipstick to mental health services, but if you are a mental health provider and you have not participated in therapy, it's very difficult to really get people to believe in the power of therapy. And also, when you are providing therapy, your own issues will come up. Your clients are going to mirror your issues. So, whatever issue you have that you think is you are keeping secret, deep down in your heart, you are going to have a client that's going to bring that issue up. I guarantee you. So that's why it's so important for you to have someone that you have a therapeutic relationship with so you can talk about that so that that does not dilute or ruin the therapeutic relationship that you have with your client. We are all human. And
Hmm.
we all have stuff. Life be lifing for everybody, even for
Everybody.
therapists.
Hmm.
So you got to be able to be healed. You got to be able to have your emotional and coping toolbox, um, be able to utilize that so that you can do what you need to do for clients.
I agree wholeheartedly. Dr. Deidra, is there any upcoming initiatives you're working on? Anything you want to announce? Any new books coming out maybe that we can be on the lookout for?
I don't have any books in the works right now. Maybe down the line, I would love to write a book just about the um, how people can heal through history, just like I talked about before, talked about the resilience, the stories of resilience of our ancestors and the people who fought for freedom. I would love to write a book about that. When I have the time, I will sit down and do that. But for right now, if people could just find me on Instagram, on TikTok. Follow me on At a Healed Perspective. I'm always doing just so many exciting things on social media, and then on Amazon for the books that I have written.
I love it. If you can describe what your own bliss section looks like, what would you say?
Ooh, I love that. What does bliss look like for me? Bliss for me looks like being able to be relaxed and rested and to do the things that I love to do. And I love just looking at your background. That's bliss for me, being in a place that
Nature.
looks like that in nature, a beach, a waterfall, um that is bliss for me, and that is why I work so hard so that I can be able to have opportunities to experience things like that.
I love it. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we go? Any words of encouragement you can leave our audience with during these unprecedented times we're in the world?
We are in such, like you said, unprecedented times. These are very challenging times, but the thing that I want people to understand is that with our culture, Black culture, we have been through situations that have been horrible, terrible, but we have found ways to pull ourselves up.
Yes.
So I encourage people to look at history, look at what people did when we were enslaved and oppressed through enslavement and through oppression and through Jim Crow segregation. Read those stories. And the thing that you're going to find is that people were able to get through it through faith. So I encourage people to really focus on their faith, whatever that is, to lock in, pray, and to just use that as their source of resilience because people got through it before and people can definitely get through it again.
We got through it before, and we're going to get through it again. Ooh, what a powerful and meaningful conversation, Dr. Deidra. Thank you so much for sharing your insight, telling us about your work, and sharing your heart with us today. It is dearly appreciated.
Yes, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this opportunity to talk with you and to just share just some of the wisdom that I've been able to learn along the way in this journey toward working in mental health.
Conversations like this just remind us that healing, connection, and community is just so needed. And earlier, as we talked about tribe and the importance of friendships, I'm so glad that you were a guest today. And thank you, everyone, for listening. If today's episode touched you or resonated with you in any way, just take a moment to share this podcast with someone else. Small steps towards understanding ourselves and each other can make life all the difference. Until next time, thank you for tuning in to the Bliss section.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Deidra.